Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. A person from the Baladavia tribe narrates the following from his grandfather. As I was coming to Medina, I pitched my tent in a valley where I saw two persons trading. The buyer was saying to the seller, "Make me a good deal on this purchase." I said to myself, could this not be the Hashimi who is misleading his people? As I watched them, another man approached. He was extremely handsome with a broad forehead, slender nose, fine eyebrows, and a black line of hair running from his chest to his navel. He was wearing 2 old sheets of cloth. He greeted us with "Assalamu alaikum," and we all replied to his greeting. He has just arrived when the buyer said, "O Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, tell this seller to make a good deal with me." To this Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam raised his hands and said, "You people are the owners of your goods. All I want is to meet Allah on the day of Qiyamah without any of you claiming from me any wealth, any blood, or any honor that I may have wrongfully taken from you." Allah showers His mercy on a person who is lenient when he sells, lenient when he buys, lenient when he takes, lenient when he gives, lenient when he pays his debts, and lenient when he asks for payment. After saying this, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam left. I said to myself, by Allah, I must certainly have to find out about this man, because his words are excellent. I therefore followed him and shouted, "O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam." He turned around to face me and said, "What is it?" I asked, "Are you the person who has misled your people, destroyed them, and stopped them from worshipping what their forefathers worshipped?" He replied, "That is Allah." I asked, "To what are you calling people?" "I am calling the servants of Allah to Allah," he responded. "What have you to say?" I asked further. He said, "That you should testify that there is none worthy of worship but Allah, that Muhammad is a Rasul of Allah, and that you believe in everything revealed to me, that you renounce Lat and Uzza, and that you establish Salah and pay Zakah." "What is Zakah?" I asked. "Wealth that our rich give to our poor," came the reply. I responded by saying, "These are excellent things you are calling towards." Prior to this, there was no one on earth whom I hated more than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. However, it was not long that he became more beloved to me than even my children, my parents, and all of mankind. I then said to him, "I have understood." He asked, "You've understood?" "Yes," I replied. He asked, "Do you testify that there is none worthy of worship but Allah, that I, Muhammad, am the Rasul of Allah, and do you believe in everything revealed to me?" "Yes, O Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam," I replied. I then asked him, "There is an oasis where many people are settled. May I invite them towards that which you have invited me? I feel that they will want to follow you." He replied, "Yes, you may invite them." Consequently, all the men and women of the oasis accepted Islam, and in appreciation and happiness, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stroked the head of his Sahabi radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Hazrat Anas bin Malik radiyallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was once visiting a man from the Banu Najjar tribe when he said to the man, "O uncle, say La ilaha illallah." The man asked, "Am I your maternal uncle or paternal uncle?" Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam replied, "You are my maternal uncle. Please say La ilaha illallah." "Will this be good for me?" the man asked. "Certainly," replied Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hazrat Anas radiyallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam once visited a Jewish boy who used to serve him but had fallen ill. Sitting by his head, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to the boy, "Accept Islam." The boy looked at his father, who was also there. The father said, "Obey Abul Qasim," that is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the boy accepted Islam. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam left the house, he said, "All praise for Allah, who has used me to save him from Jahannam." Hazrat Anas radiyallahu ta'ala anhu has also narrated that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam once said to a person, "Accept Islam and you will remain in peace." The person said, "But I dislike it." Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to him, "Even though you dislike it." Hazrat Asma bint Abi Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anha reports that it was on that day that Muslims conquered Makkah when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Hazrat Abu Quhafa radiallahu ta'ala anhu, accept Islam and remain in peace. Hazrat Asma bint Abi Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anha also reports that when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam entered Makkah and was peacefully sitting in the Masjid al-Haram, Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu brought his father Abu Quhafa to him. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw him, he said, O Abu Bakr, why did you not leave this respected man and take me to him instead? Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu replied, O Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it is more fitting that he comes to you rather than you go to him. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made the old man sit in front of him, placed his hand on the old man's heart and said, O Abu Quhafa, accept Islam and remain in peace. Consequently, he accepted Islam and recited the testimony of Iman, that is the Kalama. When Hazrat Abu Quhafa radiallahu ta'ala anhu was brought to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his hair and beard were as white as the Tughama plant. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam advised him, saying, change the color of these hairs, but stay away from black. Hazrat Mughira bin Shuba radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that the first time he came to know who Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam met him walking with Abu Jahl in one of the gullies of Makkah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Abu Jahl, O Abul Hakim, come to Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I am inviting you to Allah. Abu Jahl replied, O Muhammad, will you not refrain from insulting our gods? Do you want us to testify that you have conveyed the message? We then testify that you have conveyed the message. I swear by Allah that I would have certainly followed you if I knew that whatever you say is the truth. Hazrat Mughira bin Shuba radiallahu ta'ala anhu says that when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had left them, Abu Jahl said to him, by Allah, I know for sure that whatever he says is the truth. However, there is only one thing that prevents me from accepting. That is that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam belongs to the Bani Qusay family. And when the Bani Qusay said, keeping the keys to the Kaaba is our duty, the other families of the Quraysh accepted. Thereafter, when they said, giving water to the people and performing Hajj is our duty, we again accepted. Thereafter, when they said, chairing the public meetings is our duty, we again accepted. Thereafter, when they said, holding the flag during times of war is our duty, we again accepted. After that, they fed people, and we also fed people, until we were almost on par, and then they say, we have a Nabi among us. By Allah, this I shall never accept. Hazrat Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam once recited a part of the Quran to Walid bin Mughira, who had come to him. This caused Walid's heart to soften. When Abu Jahl heard about this, he approached Walid, saying, O uncle, your people intend collecting money for you. Why is this? Asked Walid. They want to give it to you because you have been to Muhammad to get something from him, was his reply. Walid said, but the Quraysh know well that I am among the wealthiest people, so I do not need money from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then said Abu Jahl, you will have to tell them something to make them know that you have nothing to do with Muhammad. So Walid said, what should I tell them? By Allah, none of you knows as much about poetry as I do. None of you knows as much about rhyming as I do. None of you knows as much about songs as I do. None of you knows as much about the poetry of the jinn as I do. By Allah, what Muhammad says bears no resemblance to any of these things. By Allah, what he said was extremely sweet, beautiful and attractive. What he said was a flourishing tree, the top of which bears abundant fruit, and the bottom of which is luxuriantly green. His words shall always be towering without being subdued. His speech crushes all other speech. Abu Jahl said to him, your people shall never be pleased with you until you say something against him. To this Walid said, give me time to think about it. After thinking a while, Walid said, this is nothing but magic recounted from fables of the past. It was with reference to Walid that Allah revealed the following verses of the Quran. Leave me to deal with the one, that is Walid, whom I have created single-handedly and to whom I have granted ever-increasing wealth, sons who are present with him, and for whom I have prepared every type of comfort. He then wishes that I grant him even more in the Akhirah. Never, he shall never receive any good in the Akhirah. He was certainly opposed to our ayat. I shall soon make him climb a mountain of Jahannam. Verily, he thought, and finally he devised something. That is, he decided to announce that the Quran was magic and that Rasulullah ﷺ was a magician. May he be destroyed. How does he plot? May he be destroyed again. How does he plot? He looked at the mushrikeen waiting for his reply and then frowned to show dislike for the Quran and scowled. Then he turned away and was proud. He said, "This is nothing but magic recounted from fables of the past. This is nothing but the word of man. I shall soon enter him into Jahannam." Surah Mudaththir, verses 11 till 26. According to another narration, the verse that Rasulullah ﷺ recited for Walid was, "Verily Allah instructs people to carry out justice, ihsan, that is to do things well as doing everything with the consciousness that Allah is watching, and giving charity to relatives. And Allah forbids immoral behavior, evil and oppression. He advises you so that you may take heed, and thereby save yourselves from ruin and Jahannam." Surah Nahl, verse 90. Hazrat Muawiyah radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates that he was a young boy riding his donkey while his father Hazrat Abu Sufyan radiallahu ta'ala anhu was riding another animal with his wife Hind sitting behind him. They were proceeding to Hazrat Abu Sufyan's farm when they heard the voice of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Addressing his son, Hazrat Abu Sufyan radiallahu ta'ala anhu said, "O Muawiyah, dismount the donkey so that Muhammad may mount." When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mounted the donkey, he rode ahead for a while and then turned to the family saying, "O Abu Sufyan bin Harb, O Hind bin Utbah, I swear by Allah that you shall definitely die, after which you shall certainly be resurrected. Thereafter the good shall proceed to Jannah while the evil ones shall head for Jahannam. I am telling you the absolute truth, and you two are among the very first to be warned." That is about Allah's punishment. Thereafter, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam recited the following verses of the Quran. Hamim. This Quran is a revelation from the most compassionate, the most merciful. A book, the verses of which have been clearly explained as an Arabic Quran for a nation with knowledge. It is a carrier of good news for the mu'mineen and a warner for the kuffar. However, instead of listening to the warnings, most of them turn away and do not listen. The kuffar say to the Anbiya and those who call them to Iman, "Our hearts are veiled from what you call us towards. That is, we do not understand you. And there are props in our ears. There is also a barrier between you and us. So do as you please, we shall do as we please." Say to them, "O Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I cannot force you to accept, because I am just a human like you. Revelation has been sent to me that your Ilah is only one. So remain devoted to Him and seek forgiveness from Him. Destruction, that is Jahannam, be to the mushrikeen who do not pay zakah and who disbelieve in the Akhirah. On the other hand, there shall certainly be an everlasting reward, that is Jannah, for those who have Iman and who do righteous deeds. Say, do you people really disbelieve in and ascribe partners to the being who created the earth in 2 days? It is He who is the Rabb of the universe. And in addition to all of this, Allah has also placed mountains on the surface of the earth, blessed the earth, and stipulated the earth's provisions in 4 complete days. This is sufficient as a reply to those who question you about the creation of the earth. Thereafter, Allah turned His attention to the sky, which was smoke, and said to it as well as to the earth, "Come to us," that is, submit to us, willingly or unwillingly. Both replied, "We shall come willingly." Surah Hamim, Sajda, verses 1 till 11. Hazrat Abu Sufyan radiallahu ta'ala anhu then said, "Have you finished, O Muhammad?" Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam replied, yes, and then dismounted the donkey. When Hazrat Muawiyah radiallahu ta'ala anhu mounted again, he turned to Hazrat Abu Sufyan radiallahu ta'ala anhu and said, did you make my son dismount for that magician? Hazrat Abu Sufyan replied, I swear by Allah that he is neither a magician nor a liar. Hazrat Yazid bin Ruman narrates that Hazrat Uthman radiallahu ta'ala anhu and Hazrat Talha radiallahu ta'ala anhu followed Hazrat Zubair radiallahu ta'ala anhu to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. When Hazrat Talha and Hazrat Zubair came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he presented Islam to them, recited the Quran to them, informed them about the rights of Islam, and promised them Allah's munificence. Both of them accepted Islam and acknowledged the message. Hazrat Uthman then said, O Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I have just arrived from Sham. When we were between Man and Zarqa, we fell into a slumber and then heard a caller announcing, O you sleeping ones, get up, because Ahmed had appeared in Makkah. We then heard of you when we reached. Hazrat Uthman radiallahu ta'ala anhu was among the first to accept Islam, even before Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam started coming to the house of Arqam. Hazrat Ammar bin Yasir radiallahu ta'ala anhu narrates, I met Suhaib bin Sanan radiallahu ta'ala anhu at the door of Arqam's house. I asked him, what are you doing here? He asked me, what are you doing here? I replied, I want to meet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and hear what he has to say. He then said, I have the same intention. We entered the house and met Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He presented Islam to us and we both accepted. We then stayed there the entire day until the evening when we secretly left. Hazrat Ammar bin Yasir radiallahu ta'ala anhu and Hazrat Suhaib radiallahu ta'ala anhu accepted Islam after 30 odd people had already accepted. May Allah be pleased with all of them. Hazrat Khubayb bin Abdurrahman narrates that Hazrat Sa'ad bin Zurara radiallahu ta'ala anhu and Dhakwan bin Abd Qais radiallahu ta'ala anhu came to Makkah to have Utbah bin Rabi'ah settle a dispute. When they arrived and heard about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they both went to him. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam presented Islam to them, recited the Quran to them, and they both accepted Islam without even getting close to Utbah bin Rabi'ah. Hazrat Sa'ad bin Zurara radiallahu ta'ala anhu and Dhakwan bin Abd Qais radiallahu ta'ala anhu were therefore the first persons from Medina to accept Islam.